restricting the participation and utilization of back channels like Rudy Giuliani. Again, illegal. I'm sorry.
Hey, but that's what you're doing, Chanter. This isn't a legal live stream. You're on Google Hangouts on a phone. And
Oh, Nicholas Krupas, thank you.
they said you can't
I
live
believe the
stream
total
unless you show
whistleblower
your
complaint cites
face.
in the footnotes the
What's
very
up with
statutes
that?
governing Trump's activities. Absolutely, this is absolutely true, and we will get to that when I read
I
that
couldn't help
transcript. You know,
myself.
folks, here's the deal. I try to be very honest about who I am and
Mm,
what I can do and what I'm capable of.
right.
This is
We'll
not
start
supposed
right
to be
here.
journalism or a substitute for journalism. This is at best a supplement. This is if you've already read these transcripts yourselves, if you're already exploring these issues yourselves, if you're already looking at these news events yourselves. Here you can open up a window into CW's mind, and you can have more food for thought. Whether
There's
you
so many
see things
cobwebs in
exactly the way
there.
I do, but we can explore the issue and we can talk about the issue. But I do not. But I know what I am. I can't. I'm not taking notes here. I don't write down the statutes colon s colon paragraph parentheses sign squiggly squiggly s. Just not my style. Just not what I'm trying to do here for you. Above what I can do for you in the limited time that I have to
Right, this
talk
is
to you, to coach
serious
you,
because you're
to
you're
speak about
talking
what
about
I've observed these
people
days.
without
These
using
days,
their
which are very, very
names,
busy for me
not just what you think
in
is
the
relevant
external world.
presidential action.
It'd be very interesting. You know what I should look at? We should look at the Ukraine in 1999. See
Time
what the heck was going
travel.
on back then. To see if we see any coincidences and kerfuffles, any evidence of the 20-year nostalgia loop. That a reference that I hope someone finds that they're hearing for the first time.
You want to talk about Watergate, huh? There we go. This music is brought to
Thank you,
you
Darcy. I
by
love you too. Darcy
Ian.
wrote, "I love you no matter what, Benj." Blair Bush
That's too
Project.
bad,
UN
Darcy.
cheese for refugees. You know what? And I'm not opposed to the feeding of refugees. I'm not opposed to the feeding of refugees. I'm not opposed to the feeding of citizens. I'm not opposed to feeding the undocumented. I'm not offended by the feeding of anybody. The only thing that offends me about feeding people is not feeding people.
You eat for 5 people.
Philip Blair writes, "Are you familiar with the Holodomor at CW Chanter?" I can confess that I am not. Bunya writes, "CW, do you think Trump will go to war with Iran?" That's very interesting. If there's a war with, now understand this, if there's a war with Iran, it will be because, because of our desire to control and protect Saudi Arabian oil.
Yeah.
Again,
This is
you
about
need to
Maxim
understand that
Shevchenko and mineral
this
rights.
happened with at
You
the end of
never
World War
listened.
One.
Let me sit
And
here.
this is a very simplified view of history. This is a very simplified view of history, but I think it's a fair one to put forward. Though there are obviously nuances and details that I am not taking into consideration.
Right, because you're a
But
fool.
at the end of World War One, when they were writing up the terms of ceasing conflict, there were many people who said, "Look,
You're still at
let's
war,
not
Chanter.
overly punish the defeated powers, including excuse me, Germany.
No excuse.
Let's create an armistice and an end of active military engagements that allows people to go to their corners, rebuild, rework, rebond, lick their wounds, come back, and everyone work together." And there were other people that said, "No, fuck that shit. We won. Screw them."
You're not
Especially
supposed to be
Germany.
cussing online.
Step on
Remember?
their necks. Really make them feel it. Make them lick ass. Brand them. Abuse them. Punish them. Punish them. Punish them. Voices of Reason said, "No, no, no. This is world politics in a world that is becoming increasingly interdependent. Railroads, power lines, connecting everybody together in one holistic world economy as never before. Everything influences everything else. Let's all work together to create a workable peace. Justice is not the end. Punishment is certainly not the end. These are not people. These are nations. Nations full of innocent parties. Let's not run this succession of violence with a stupid, brutish, old world approach that will just beget more violence. Those voices of reason were shouted out. The League of Nations did not come into fruition. And Germany had economic strictures put on it
Save
to keep the
yourself,
ban.
CW.
What ended up happening?
Darcy
It
told you
destroyed the
that
German
twice.
economy and created a situation where oppressed and suppressed and depressed people will do desperate.
Oh no.
That's how
You're
human
glitching.
psychology
They know what you're
works
doing,
into
Easy
human
Cheesy.
sociology, turns into mass movements and mass events.
Sociology
turns into
is
swings
one of my
political
main
power toward
favorite
fascistic
self-educated passions.
despots.
That's
The road
despotism.
to Adolf Hitler cannot be understood without analyzing
If you're gonna save baby
undue
Hitler
punishments that
or
were
the
visited
Mona
upon the
Lisa.
German people in the form of
Oh, it's a
sanctions
big
and
topic here on
other,
CW
retributions
Dum Dum.
at the end of World War I. Why are there so many sanctions against Iran? Why did we pull out of the Iran nuclear power agreement? That would have prevented them from building weapons of mass destruction and seeking the atomic weaponry. Why did President Trump pull out of it? I'm going to suggest that it's not because he was playing 4D chess, but rather he has no idea what the fuck he's doing.
Wow, you shouldn't say that about anybody lightly.
Nicholas Krupas is in the live chat pointing out the role of evangelical dominationists. Evangelicals are driving Trump Middle East policies.
One of your favorite
they
subjects.
drive for war in the Middle East to force the return of Jesus. This cannot be forgotten about. Some of these things need to be understood on that level because it is on that level from which certain people act and react.
Who?
They too.
You're twisting the Bible stories again.
I was just about to be like,
that's predictive.
Hey, I'm losing it because I just saw that and I was like, why is that there? I was like,
predictive, easy programming.
8:18. We've been staying for about 20 more minutes. 10 more minutes. 12 more minutes.
You should go now.
Or maybe I'll wrap up now. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Right, you better get off the phone, ding dong. Ew.
But this is a sort of litmus test that people...
Oh, don't fib, Kelly. Y'all got
no
plenty
food for me?
Right. Are you
I thought
kidding?
we had agreements as to when things would wrap up.
I mean, seriously? But you're on Google Hangouts. You're on a phone call.
When people are
with a can of cheese.
Suggesting that President Donald Trump is really doing X, Y, and Z, or is part of this conspiracy or this conspiracy behind the scenes, when they're advocating for certain political positions, extraordinary political positions, extraordinary worldviews, ask yourself, is their worldview as nuanced as the reality of these political machinations?
Oh, this has not been easy cheesy.
I'll put forward that they can't. That the worldview that allows for the belief that Donald Trump is connected to biblical prophecy or that Donald Trump is working behind the scenes with a secret space program.
They say Donald Trump is Elvis behind the scenes.
You need to ask yourself
somebody needs to quit spreading these fibs.
Are these thoughts being put forward in a sophisticated enough way that indicates, number one, that the people reporting, purporting, or pushing them forward truly understand world politics and have a
You let these
sophisticated and
dogs
truly
out?
Oh,
sophisticated and
yeah.
nuanced worldview. And number two is the thought or idea that's being put forward, is the
Mom, sit
conspiracy, is the
down.
storyline that's being put forward. Can it accommodate and allow for and
What?
explain why these things are happening? Why Donald Trump is releasing this statement by this conversation between him and the president of the
Assume all
Ukraine?
assumption. Hmm.
And we'll see what happens next. We'll see what happens next. Now, here's the other thing. Moving forward into 2020, let's play this out. A couple of things that are on the table for me in my thought and my ideas. And I'm just a guy on the ground like you guys. I have no exceptional finances. I have no exceptional connections to
No.
people in positions of power.
No, you don't. But you
No,
do.
I will not do that. B square.
You're
Can't
like
do
the
that. I'm
you're
very.
like the
If you
butt boy
notice that
lawyer
that's
for
why I'm
some
blowing my
people.
nose. The notion of taking a
Remember?
hard hit of artificial dairy. It's just not going to happen. Not tonight, at least.
You're a soy
Maybe I
boy.
do
Come
later on
on.
with cream, but that's a whole different story.
Kelly ain't giving you none.
Um, Issues. Number one,
Right,
I think the
never
notion
assume.
that Joe Biden is still in the running for the presidency of the United States is a sick joke. The man is so full of holes. The man is so corrupt as a corporatist stooge.
How would he feel about you saying
He
that?
has the exact same problems that
That's
Hillary
pretty
Clinton had. The
slanderous.
notion that he's still in the running when we saw what kind of damage Hillary Clinton did,
If
what
he's got
damage an
blue suede
establishment,
shoes, you're in big
putting
trouble.
forward an establishment stooge was for the Democratic Party in 2016 is gross to me. And the worry on my head
You better tag
is
Elvis.
that this talk of this anti-Donald Trump sentiment galvanizing around this Ukrainian statement or him going over Joseph Biden will unfortunately make a hero of Joseph Biden, who is no hero, who's absolutely corrupt, who's absolutely a capitalist crony, who's just a scumbag.
You're a loser. A mentally ill one. And what
Feet
does
of
that say for
clay,
you?
feet of Play-Doh, Joseph Biden. So my fear is that he's being talked about, he's being discussed, and then eventually he'll be interviewed, and there'll be more push
Trump
to all of
wants
a
to
sudden the
execute
corporate
whistleblowers'
stooges at CNN
sources.
going, you know, it forces all to take a look at Joseph Biden. I mean, his handling of the
Channer's a
situation has been
whistleblower.
absolutely impeccable.
I mean, he
What a
might
great
know
guy.
something.
What a smart, well-spoken guy. Really, makes you understand, should we be taking a harder look at Biden as a real contender to go up against Trump? I mean, isn't it personal with these guys now? And shouldn't we therefore let it play out? Right? Riverdog Pitbull says Biden is a seat sniffer, and I would say do not
Mm,
insult or sully the good name of seat sniffers by associating them with
what do you mean letting blood,
ultra
Darcy?
douche like Joe Biden.
Creep Uncle Joe. Joe Biden.
Creep Uncle Joe says Mark Geronimo. Reason enough not to put him in there to say we have such a situation with the possible second term of Donald Trump, with the untold devastation that him and his political cronies around the world have done
I'm holding my arms straight
environmental
out.
concerns, economic concerns, the rights of women around the world. Just he's a disgusting motherfucker. The notion that we would run the risk of a guy as susceptible to political ridicule, rancor, and assault as Joseph Biden is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. But
Philip Blair calls for Bernie Bear.
it's been the name game, remember? Easy cheesy. It's not who you think it is. Just like when you talk about me and use other people's names. They're doing it to you, too. Do.
Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, even Kamala Harris to a lesser extent. There are plenty of people who could be put up against Donald Trump as an ostensibly at least more outsider candidate that would do so much to address the certain attractiveness that Donald Trump has for people. Charisma is a terrible, terrible thing when it comes to politics. Remember this: Plato was
Plato?
not enamored of the idea of a representative democracy. He thought that it would lead to craziness. Why? Plato
It's
understood
a
that
sheet shoe.
99.9% of people are idiots.
Hmm. It's idiotos to you.
I'm not saying he's right. I like representative governments. I like a government by election, by elected representatives.
You wish you had a clue.
Michelle Ember makes an interesting point. I've been asking people if they think it would be better to say Senator Sanders rather than Bernie. Interesting. But what I see there
It'd be more
is
respectful.
an interesting concept that I would like to bring out to remind ourselves that in 2019, we absolutely do live in an artificial mediated hologram matrix
Of cheese
universe.
whiz.
This is the world where Joseph Goebbels and Colonel Michael Aquino
You love talking
can be
about him.
seen as the spearheads
Mm.
of the new paradigm of information war.
No.
Why waste time with bullets and the destruction of infrastructure when, at far lesser cost,
No, Scar said.
though at
I'm
far greater
surrounded by
gamble,
idiots first.
perhaps morally
Hmm.
and ethically, one can influence and affect and effect change not by killing people, but by quote unquote changing their minds, hearts and minds,
Bingo.
hearts and minds, hearts and minds.
And with that,
Now,
we're going to get out of here,
let's bring
Tubby.
forward for
I still want to know how you went live when you're not allowed to. And I want to know why it took 45 minutes for me to upload an 8-minute video. But for now, I'm going to skedaddle and get this up before you ever get done. So blow me sideways and have a nice day.